Hello chaps, it is Tuesday the 12th of September. I thought I should do a little bit of a talk and a demonstration on what I do in regard to stropping. There seems to be quite a lot of earlier stropping videos which are wonderful, particularly Jared over in California, beg his pardon, over in Florida. Hello Jared. He does some wonderful instructional videos. This is just me giving a quick talk through what I get up to more than anything else. Let's start off with the principles of why we strop. So first of all, this is called a razor. Sorry, I'm being flippant here. Right, first things first, the reason we have to strop is after you've shaved, you've actually put dings all along your edge, and those little dings are like little teeth and they need to be straightened out. So after you've had a reasonable strop, this is a matter of personal choice. You can use, this is quite a stiff canvas. That's a stiff canvas strop. Now this one is American. This is the Illinois Razor Strop Company. This is number 361 model. It's got a very nice bull hide, quite a good draw. I've nothing against the draw on bull hide. It just feels a little bit stiff, a little bit heavy. I'm sure it's perfectly good. It's whatever you get used to as much as anything. Anyway, that's not the point. The point being how you approach these things if you're a novice. What I wouldn't recommend is getting a small travel strop like this. Small travel strop, very good when you know what you're doing. There is the X pattern. You make an X pattern so the whole of the edge gets the same amount of treatment. Now that's on the nice smooth Horween leather side. The back side I've used a few times. That's got the green chrome dioxide paste on. That's another subject. Anyway, all I was going to say was the principles behind it. Once you get used to a wider, I'd say a wider strop. If you use a wider strop, you haven't got to be so concerned about the intricacies of movement. All you're doing with a wider strop, like this beautiful canvas, is you can just go up and down. Obviously the back leading, the spine leading. You never take the spine off the strap, or off the strop rather. Never take it off, no need to, so you just keep it on. You can then, once you get more confident, you can then do a little bit more of a crossover like that, what we call X strokes, and that will make sure all of the blade, not just the centre of the blade, gets the treatment. This now has taken out all the nasty little teeth. People think it sharpens a razor. It doesn't really sharpen a razor. What it does is it reverts it back to being in pristine condition, because the edge gets damaged every time you shave. So that's what you do after the shave. There's your canvas. That is a Kaneyama canvas. Poor old Mr. Naomi, very selfish man. He died in his 90s, late 90s. He'd been making these wonderful Kaneyama strops all his life. And I'm greedy, I own two. These are much sought after now. But leather is leather. This is good horse leather. So really, he leads, or did lead the field rather. But I would say the Kaneyama brand, people are going a little bit silly over. So there again, there's the stroke. Go up to the top, turn. Bring it back, turn. Nice and smooth. Light pressure on the razor, very strong pressure on the strop. If you keep the strop loose like that, all you're going to do is round the edge. You don't want to do that. If you do, if you're beginning, and I'm assuming it's beginners watching my nonsense, if you do put a nick into the edge, you can actually polish the nick out with either, if it's very small, little tiny piece of sandpaper, a little bit of a smooth spoon, back of a spoon, and polish it out. The other thing to do, which I didn't do, I do beg its pardon, is when you go onto a very fine strop like this one, this is a Kaneyama 70,000, I tend to make sure I've got a little tiny bit of oil on my hands. You don't add the oil, it's just your own skin, and that gives a little bit of protection to the leather, and of course it helps to warm it, and it helps to remove any nasty bits and pieces. If you were silly enough to allow any form of contamination onto a fine leather strop and then you go straight on without wiping it, there's a chance you can damage your edge. So obviously making it rather silly. So anyway, that one has a buff leather side to it, which takes the place of a harsh canvas. I never use it. What I did was I took the Kaneyama canvas. This came from Hawaii, by the way. I took the Kaneyama canvas and I beat it to death, and I softened it. I softened it with one of the, I don't know, Lenore, whatever it was. This is not everybody's cup of tea, but it made it a beautiful soft canvas. And I've got very, very nice blades and very nice edges. So I thought, do you know what? I prefer doing a few more laps, like thus, on a nice smooth canvas. It's doing the same job, but a coarse canvas, I just don't like the sound. Anyway, there it is. That's now taken off, rather altered the shape and brought them back into shape with the little tiny microscopic teeth, which then, after 25 on that, you then do anything you want, really, depending on the edge. If I've got a really spankingly good edge, I'll only do about 12. If you need a little bit of extra work, like straight from the hone stone, I would recommend as many as 40. But anyway, that is your standard razor. That's the standard method. All I was going to touch on, because I've always been a bit odd, is if you then go to something really exotic like this. This is a Trevor Wolfson. Now this is a Wolf Blades. You've seen it before, I'm sure, if you've followed my channel, and I hope you do. This is a Wolf Blades. This is the Beast. This was designed by the great Sergio Bandafrito in California and was used on some of his most excellent videos. This has what a lot of people would say was an impossible shape to hold and to strop properly. No, it's actually blissfully easy. Like all things, you just get a little used to it and you're fine. Hold it any way you want. I find this is one of the best razors I've ever held for all its shape. And there we go. There's your canvas. Just going up, I'd say very gently, because you've got to get used to the fact this has got a big smiley blade. So it's up, turn, down, turn, up, turn, down. If you want to give it, as I do, a little tiny bit of an X pattern, like that, then the whole of the blade. I don't really pull too tight on this canvas because I'm not absolutely certain about how much tension to the curve of the blade. But generally speaking, because it's soft material, the blade is going to take the curve perfectly. So that's the whole of this beautiful curved smiling blade covered. You then go onto our friend the Kaneyama, or whichever you want. Use that. I mean, that's the bull hide. And this is the horse hide. And if you've got a luxury razor, I think you rather deserve to put it onto, a top end strop. Anyway, whether you've got a little 5/8 or even a 4/8, as I've used, or whether you've got a giant blade, it's exactly the same principle. The principle is you must strop and look after your edge. That one's all ready to go. Let's go to one more, then I'll shut up. There we have, this is one of my favourites. This is a Max Sprecher, which was sent to me by Dr. Matt, who had worked on it, but I worked on it some more because it had a warp in the blade. So now it has no warp in the blade. It now has a little tiny bit of shiny, I don't know if you can see that, little tiny bit of shiny hone wear, but that was to cure the very strange dichotomy on the edge. This is a very fine razor. This I'm going to show one more time. So whether it's a big boy or whether it's a little tiny razor, the same principle. Start at the top, but what I would say is with canvas it doesn't matter. You can see the movements I'm making, keeping the spine on the canvas all the time. What I would say is once you go onto the high quality polished leather, don't go over the same area all the time. Others have warned of this, I'm only echoing them. If you keep turning on exactly the same position, like that, you're going to start to put a little bit too much wear because of the turn. So it pays, once you've got used to your strop and you've got used to your blades, it pays to slightly alternate and slightly alter the length of the stroke. See, there's a short stroke, doing the same job, and there's a long stroke, like that. But that will keep the wear to a minimum and will do a wonderful job on your edge. So that's the whole point. I'm not going to go on any longer. This is just to cover the fact it doesn't matter what you're using, whether you're using a very normal and outlandishly strange or a great big smiley custom like that. The principle of stropping remains a constant and remains the same. Anyway, that's really all I had to say. That's all there is to it, chaps. That's what I do. You do as you like. Anyway, I'm going to have a shave now. See you all soon. Thank you so much for watching, particularly any new subscribers. If you did enjoy this and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because I might be touching on a subject that you do enjoy next. See you all soon. Bye.